'cause the Danbury Westerners are playing tonight. They'll be swinging their bats and they'll be hitting home runs. It's a night of excitement and family fun.
Welcome, sports fans, to another edition of Westerners Roundup.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here this morning and welcome to the 2012 Westerners Celebrity Breakfast, the 18th annual Celebrity Breakfast, the longest continuing running ACL franchise that's here in that city. And this time, I'd like to introduce the president of the Danbury Westerners, Paul Schubert.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to our annual Celebrity Breakfast. We got a great program here. We'll try and get you at a fairly decent time. The first thing I gotta say is if you haven't purchased raffle tickets, please do so. We have people going around selling them. We got a terrific array of prizes for you to win and take home. There's also some neat silent auction items, Yankee tickets, some James Loney autographed memorabilia, and a Don Larson baseball cap, among other things. Many of you are probably aware that this is our largest fundraiser, and I first want to thank the members of our breakfast committee who put this together. This is an awful lot of work to get over 440 people in this room today. And I really want to go out and thank Bob Broad, John Constantino, Jack Deering, Brian Coons, Mike Malone, Marie O'Neill, Julie Poglemba, Bill Slipkin, Barbara Smith, and Kay Schreiber, our chairperson. Thank you. We can't do this event without sponsors, and Danbury Orthopedics is our championship sponsor for today. And I also really want to thank four groups who've been with us since day one: the City of Danbury, Union Savings Bank, the News Times, and WLAD Radio. I also want to thank Crown Point the Reserve, who've been working with us for a lot of our fundraisers that we've been doing throughout the year. And Crown Point the Reserve is our sponsor for opening night tonight. I would also be remiss if I failed to mention something. There are these really nice white envelopes on each of your table that say the word tips up. Please don't be shy and fill them up. We really want them to be a lot heavier when we leave today than they were when we put them on the tables. Last year, I stood here as my first year as president. I was kind of nervous, not really knowing what to expect with the duties here. But I will tell you, I'm passionate about the product we offer here, and that passion hasn't waned. We have a great group of players, and once again, it's led by our manager, Jamie Shevchuk. Jamie, you here? I gotta tell you, this guy is great. You know, he comes from Pennsylvania, and he brings his family here for 2 months of the summer, and he's really devoted to our program, and not just the baseball aspects, but he realizes that the Westerners are representing the community while they're here for this summer, and he does a terrific job getting the folks here. And you'll see the Westerners at a lot of events. You'll see the Westerners at schools during the youth field days. Our first one is Monday. You'll see the Westerners at local public libraries, where we're kicking off our ERA, Eager Readers Awareness Program. This is our third year of the program, and we have commitments to over a dozen local libraries for the players to be speaking and to encourage reading among our youths. You'll see the Westerners as we help promote the history of baseball at the Danbury Museum this summer. This weekend is also the kickoff of their display for the history of baseball. We're kicking it off with a vintage game at the park at 1 o'clock tomorrow, 1886 style baseball, and I hope you can all attend that. And of course, you're going to see the Westerners at Rogers Park this year. and hopefully we'll be bringing a championship. We do all this in 2 months, although we work tirelessly throughout the year. Real quick, there's a lot of material that we give you. That's one of our traditions here. We like to give you guys lots of paper and stuff. We have summer baseball camps for your sons and daughters. They start in early July. Our annual charity golf tournament is July 18th at Richter Park. We will also have some former celebrities there. Commitments from Tommy John and Howard Johnson, among others, will be there. You can golf with them if so desired. And we also are continuing our partnership with Viridian Energy, a great way to save money on your energy bills and at the same time help the Westerners generate some funds. It's really great to see all you guys here today. Our season starts tonight, 6:30 at Rogers Park. We play the Mystic Schooners. And you'll see it at all the seats, a ticket for complimentary admission to any home game this year. We want you guys to come out to the games, and we know that once you come out once, you're hooked. I want to conclude my remarks with just a quick story with you. This past week was the MLB draft, and the Westerners were once again well represented. We had a total of 11 players selected this year. I've gotten to know the players a bit over the years, especially as I've continued my involvement with this franchise. And I texted a couple of the players, and last night I got a response back from one of the ball players, and I just want to tell you what he said back to me. He said, "Thanks, I appreciate the support. You guys put me on the map and are a class organization. I will always be a Westerner." Thank you very much.
Again, we welcome you and thank you for being here. The 18th annual Celebrity Breakfast. And as is tradition at the Celebrity Breakfast, we always begin with some remarks from the honorable winner of the city of Danbury, Mark Bouton.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Are we excited for some baseball or what? And that's the weakest applause I've seen all week. Are we excited for some baseball or what? You know, this truly is a special morning for a couple of reasons, and I just want to share some quick thoughts with you. One is that we have a great guest speaker. I'm a little biased here because we're like cousins. We go back 52 generations. Jim spells his name B-O-U-T-O-N. I spell my name B-O-U-G-H-T-O-N. And we come from the same descendant, but the reason for that is back in the early 1800s, two sisters got in a fight, one of those family fights, and one of the sisters added the G-H in the last name, and they split the family that way. So Jim is on the rebel side of the family. I'm on the good side. I stayed here, he went all over the country, but it really is an honor to have such an outstanding ball player here in the city of Danbury to share some thoughts about his career and about the state of the game. So Jim, welcome to the city, and we're glad to have you. You can drive as fast as you want. You're related to there. Do whatever you need to do. You're good to go. And of course, it's a good morning to be able to recognize two outstanding individuals that helped us get us here. One, former Mayor Gene Eriquist, who had the vision to put the idea of the Westerners together, along with Jim Roach from Western Connecticut State University, and a committed and dedicated team of volunteers. Bob Ryerson's here too, Parks and Rec director back then, and a whole bunch of people. And they had this idea to have high quality collegiate baseball in our city center. And that idea continues to flourish today. So we thank them and honor them for their commitment to our city and for their vision. And of course, Charlie Coakley is like everywhere. Everybody knows Charlie. He does an outstanding job in terms of being able to promote baseball in the city, particularly with the children of our city. Go down and look at Danbury Youth Baseball, go down and see what he does both for this organization, but also for Danbury Youth Baseball, and see how many kids we have participating every weekend in our youth baseball services, and you'll see the kind of job that Charlie's done. So we have two outstanding individuals that we're honoring today, and we're certainly thankful for their contributions to the baseball community. But with that, I'm excited for a great season. Tonight's opening night We expect to have a lot of people down there. If all of you could put that on your schedule this evening to come to a game, and also to look at the calendar which is on your desk. Circle a couple of games to stop down and support the team, particularly as they drive to a championship this year, which they've already promised is going to happen. So congratulations to the entire team. Great morning. Excited to hear our speaker. And again, congratulations to Gene and Charlie. God bless you.
Our next speaker is no stranger to Danbury baseball at all, as he came up through the ranks, coached through the ranks, and then was a huge part of Danbury Westerners coming to fruition and succeeding in the NECBL, and he has made it all the way to the top for the past few years, has been sort of running the show, which is not always easy when you have 10 very different owners of franchises, I can assure you. So how Mario has made it through this term, I do not know, but we thank him so, because he has kept this league a very buoyant one and a very successful one. The Commissioner of the New England Collegiate Baseball League, Mario Tiani.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The gray here shows the 10 teams that we go through during the season. It is play ball time again, and first of all, I want to thank Paul and Terry and the entire Westerner organization for having me here again. This is my 18th Westerner breakfast, and I see a lot of familiar faces out there, so we're all getting a little older, but we're enjoying it, and this is the granddaddy of everything within the NECBL. This was the beginning of all the events in the NECBL, and it's still the top event in the NECBL when it comes to any of the events that we put on. Just to quickly give you a quick recap of 2011, it was a great year again. Attendance was up. Once again, we broadcast all our games over the internet, both audio and video streaming. Last year, Paul mentioned this year's draft. Last year, we had over 100 players that were drafted in last year's. We don't have the totals in for this year yet. Yes, Danbury has 11, and I think they're leading the pack so far as the results I've received. But we expect to be over 100 again this year. Another thing about our draft of players, we started out 2012 with a real bang this year. Actually, the season started last night. We had two games. That got played, and Mother Nature took its turn at the plate for the third game. But last year, we had 100 players drafted, and this year, going into spring training, we had 59 alumni from the NECBL on the Major League rosters. And the opening day rosters, we had 29 alumni on the opening day rosters, and another 9 were promoted in May. So the NECBL is doing very well for itself in the short 19 years that we've been in existence. I also want to thank the volunteers of the Westerners, actually all of the organizations within the NECBL, and especially the host families. Without the host families, you folks are the foundation of our league. Without the host families, we would not be able to bring in the players that we do from all over the country. So a big thank you to you folks out there. You do a heck of a job, and I understand you're still looking for a couple of more, so I'm sure there's a couple of people that are going to volunteer for those 2 spots.
We hope so.
Jamie and his coaching staff, Danbury must be doing something right. You're back here again. And, as I said earlier, I haven't seen any growth of the hair there yet, but maybe if you come back next year, you'll surprise me. Players, you're in for a real ride this year. You're going to be thrilled with your stay in Danbury. You're going to be thrilled with the caliber of play. You're going to be thrilled with the scouts attending the games. And as Paul said, hopefully it's going to put you on the map this year for future drafts. And we're looking forward to seeing you also. Once again, I want to thank everybody out there for their past support of the NECBL and the Danbury Westerners. And looking for your support this coming season. Come on down to a ball game. Come on down tonight. It'll be a great start tonight. I'll see you down. Thank you.
It's time to introduce the Westerners baseball team. for 2012. We ask that you just hold your applause till we announce everybody's name, and all standing, and then a big round of applause for everybody. That would be appreciated. We'll save on a little bit of time, and we'll get through it. The other thing I'll tell you is that some of the numbers may not match the individuals, as guys are coming in from postseason action, heading here, getting ready for practice, and so we're going to give you the official NECBL numbers that they will be wearing during the course of the campaign.
All right, let's start off your 2012 Westerners. Pitchers, a right-hander from Miami, number 27, Brandon Adkins. From Westchester U, a right-hander, number 34, Fred Beidenbach. From Maryland, a lefty, number 35, Ben Brewster. From UConn, a right-hander, number 19, Stephen Catalina. From Armstrong, it's number 8, a lefty, Jimmy Conklin. From Kentucky, a right-hander, number 38, Tyler Dunaway. From Southern New Hampshire, a right-hander, number 5, David Gibson. From Marist, a Red Fox, number 26, Brett Housel. From Tampa, a lefty, number 15, Eric Luxus. From Binghamton, right-hander, number 33, Greg Ostner. From Felician College, number 9, Stephen Palladino. From Fordham University, number 22, John Porter. From Virginia Tech, lefty, number 37, Isaac Sherman. And rounding out our pitchers, from Columbia, right-hander, number 32, Zach Tax. Our catchers, from Missouri, Columbia, number 24, righty, Jake Ivory. From Texas A&M, number 24, righty, Sean Smedley. From Kentucky, number 36, right-hander, Michael Thomas. And another righty hitter as we start off the infielders. It is from North Carolina, Chapel Hill, number 2, Josh Aki. And a lefty hitting infielder from Southern New Hampshire, number 4, Matthew Bolter. From Georgia Tech, righty hitting number 3, Chase Butler. And from UConn, Avery Point, Danbury's native son, number 17, Ian Ratchford. From Monmouth, number 1, righty hitting Jake Grunski. From Marist, a pair of Marist players in the infield, lefty hitting number 6, Mike Orifice, and righty hitting number 53, Zach Shank. Outfielders, from Tulane, number 7, Andrew Garner. From Binghamton, number 31, Scott Hayden. From Georgia Tech, lefty hitting outfielder, number 12, Daniel Spingola. From Virginia Tech, number 10, Kyle Wernicke. And lefty hitting outfielder from North Carolina, Chapel Hill, number 16, Tom Zengel. And the Westerner coaches. This gentleman could be wearing one of many numbers. Look along with me. He could be wearing 8, 14, or 9, depending on what fits. Hitting coach, Larry Yurkonis. Assistant coach, number 25, Ryan Smythe. Pitching coach, and Bethel kind of guy, number 11, Sean Fesh. And the head coach of the Danbury Westerners, from Keystone, number 21, J.D. Shevchik. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2012 Westerners.
All right, folks, time for some very, very special presentations. I'd like to bring up at this time the general manager of the Westerners, Terry Whalen, and the COO himself, Mike Malone, for the presentation of Michael R. Cereal Awards.
My name is Mike Malone, and delighted to be here, and I'm humbled actually to make a presentation in honor of Michael R. Siri, who for a long time has been a friend and a partner with the Westerners. Gene Eriquist served the city of Danbury for 22 years in various elected positions. He was the leader at the city council. He subsequently was elected to 6 terms as mayor. He had served on many boards and commissions in the Danbury area. In addition, he held leadership positions for various not-for-profits, including Children's Aid Foundation, United Way, and the PAL. He's also the recipient of many awards and citations for his great civic work. There would never be a Danbury Westerners if it wasn't for Mayor Eriquist in his start. He established and founded the Danbury Westerners as a franchise. In partnership with Dr. James Roach at WestCon, along with some enthusiastic volunteers and leaders, community leaders, Dick Murray, Mario Tiani, Rich Ryerson, Bill Brank, and others. They established the Danbury Westerners. And Gene more or less gave Dick the marching orders. He said, make it happen. And indeed, he couldn't have gone to a better group of people to make it happen. We are the oldest franchise in the league. We really don't get into the black until about February from the previous year. We do a lot of fundraising to keep us going, and we're very proud of the fact that Mr. Eriquist was the person who made us what we are. His vision really brings the finest quality of amateur baseball that you want to see in the Northeast, East, or even in the nation. Because of him, we have flourished and will continue to do such. I appreciate the fact that he has a love for the game. He's still a Danbury Westerner, and in that respect, I would like to present to him a plaque. Mr. Eriquist, would you come up? I just want to read the inscription. Gene Eriquist, in honor of Michael R. Siri, for perpetuating community partnerships, sportsmanship, and dedication on behalf of the Danbury Westerners, June 8, 2012. Thank you, sir.
We just argued about who's going to say something. So. We'll both say something very quickly. I have prepared mayoral proclamations. You know, Gene has given out probably thousands of these things in his term as mayor, so I don't think I've ever given him one, but it's certainly well earned and something that I'm proud to do. I have 2 of them from him, so I still owe one, so we'll figure that out later on. But anyways, Gene, I prepared a mayor's proclamation in the interest of keeping the program going. I'm not going to read yours and Charlie's, but basically this gives you the same rights as it gives to Jim. Both you and Charlie can drive as fast as you want in the city. I know Senator McLaughlin has a statement as well in the legislature. So we appreciate all you've done, and I'm going to call Mike up and he can present his as well. So maybe a few words from there.
Mayor, and thank you for all you did in Rogers Park with the Westerners. Well-deserved recognition, and Mike Siri is very dear and near to all of our hearts. Appropriate that you're given an award in his name. Thank you for all you've done.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Senator. I thank you for all of you for being here this morning and continuing your support, enthusiastic support for the Danbury Westerners, 18 years strong now. Mayor, I just want to let you know I've always sped in the city of Danbury.
I didn't want to say that.
It's okay. Well, thank you for your forgiveness. It's humbling to receive this award, and I do so truly in honor of the many leaders, the countless volunteers, the host families, the players, the coaches, the wonderful businesses and nonprofit organizations, all who have been part of the Danbury Westerners family for now 18 years strong. I want to thank the New England Collegiate Baseball League for their continued support of Danbury's home team. And I just want to note that, Jim Bouton, although a great fastball pitcher, later in his career became very prominent for the knuckleball. And all of us who know baseball well know that a knuckleball doesn't spin. That's the thing that separates the two Boutons that are here with us tonight. It's nice to be on the giving end when you get on this seat. Lastly, I want to just congratulate Charlie as well for being the recipient of this award. Jamie, DeShawn, your coaching staff, to all the players. Let's have a great season. I hope you have a great time here in Danbury. We believe you will. We hope you stay safe throughout your travels throughout New England. We hope you bring us many victories. We hope that this season is one that is continued to be supported by enthusiasm. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And so all of us need to be enthusiastic about our support for the Danbury Westerners throughout this season and beyond. Lastly, I just want to say it's very special to receive an award in the name of Michael Seary. Mike used to be here and tell us that he always aspired, Mike known as Tweezer, and all of us who know him know he may be short in stature but tall in virtue. But he used to tell us that he used to aspire to be a shortstop, but he always got cut from every team because ground balls used to bounce over his head. But our thoughts and certainly our prayers are with Mike today, and to be able to receive an award in someone's name who is selflessly and tirelessly given of himself for the benefit of so many people in this state and in this city, and has touched so many lives, it makes this even more special. But I do so in honor of all those who have made the Danbury Westerners possible throughout 18 years. Congratulations and thank you.
I'd like to ask Charlie Coakley to come forward, please. Charlie is one of the greatest partners the Westerners can have. He runs about 300 games a year on the field that we play baseball on at Rogers Park, and he makes time for us to get our games in. We play about 25 games down there. I think Charlie takes as good a care of us as he does of his own kids, and thank goodness for that. We can't ask for anything from youth baseball and from Charlie that we don't get. We come in, we have a very tight budget, we really don't have any materials or equipment, and when we have to do some special things, Charlie is there to do it for us or to share the tools and equipment with us. We have rainouts, and as you know, in New England, they're pretty common. But every possible schedule is taken down at the field. But if we have a rainout, so that we don't avoid losing the revenue from that gate, we call Charlie and ask him if we can book a date, and he is more than accommodating. He bends over backwards to help us, and we have not lost a date because of that. Charlie just takes excellent care of the field. He works inspirationally with the city group that's down there that does a great job on the field and just keeps it in great shape. And we just couldn't do much without Charlie. So I'd like to congratulate Charlie on winning the Michael R. Seary Award, and it's certainly well deserved. And thank you very much, Charlie.
I also have a mayor's proclamation for you, and we want to congratulate you on behalf of the city for your work with the Danbury Volunteer Firefighters, your work with youth baseball, your work with the Westerners, and all the other volunteer activities you do throughout the year. You're truly one of the members of this community that made this city work, so congratulations. Again, you can drive as fast as you want, just like me. And that's what we are.
knowing your schedule is nonstop, you must have 2 hours of sleep a night with all that you do for our community. God bless you and thank you very kindly from the state of Connecticut. Other members of the Danbury delegation are here today from the state capitol and join in thanking you for your community service.
I'd like to thank everybody. Again, any of this stuff isn't possible without help from everybody. And the Westerners are a very dedicated group that work very hard throughout the year to put a product of baseball in Danbury that's above everyone. That you want to believe that some great baseball down in Danbury. I love the game of baseball. That's why I do it. There's people that help out from the city, Danbury Youth Baseball, the Westerners. It's a great honor to be mentioned in the same name as Michael Siri. Bill Coffey asked me if there's a criteria for height on this. I don't know if that was part of the criteria or not, but Michael is a great guy. To be mentioned in the same sense is a true honor. And I hope everybody comes down and enjoys the games as much as we do. It's about the great game of baseball in the city of Danbury. So thank you very much and enjoy this summer season. And the Westerners hopefully will make the playoffs and go further into the season as we do. Okay? Thank you.
Our guest speaker is no stranger to controversy. Some may have said he was strange when he was playing ball. I didn't. As a kid, I absolutely could not put down ball four. I didn't really get to see Jim Bouton pitch during his Yankee days. Got to see him pitch a little bit later. In fact, my boss Herb, who's here, got to see him when he made a tremendous comeback and got the knuckleball going again. But I can tell you that as someone who, as a high schooler, got to interview Mr. Bouton during his broadcasting days, and as someone who has enjoyed each and every book this gentleman has put out, it's a tremendous honor to have him here today. Up until Jim Bouton's put a ball for, Doug Rader was a baseball card to me. Or Norman Miller was a baseball card to me. You only got to see him once a week, maybe on the game of the week, or if they played the Mets. There was no one in the league playing that day to see an Astro. But he fleshed all these individuals out. Some, like Doug Rader, he fleshed out pretty darn good. But it was great to learn about these individuals and learn that there was a little bit more in the world of baseball, and that baseball players are people just like the folks living next door or around the corner or a few miles away. Jim Bouton is just extremely special. He has been a success on the field as an author, as a broadcaster, and as an entrepreneur. And if anybody here has never put Big League Chew in their mouths, I suggest you do so immediately. We have any on sale here today? Darn, it's good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best, Jim Bouton.
Thank you very much, Mark. Big League Chew, you're familiar with that. This spring there'll be a medical marijuana version of it. In response to the mayor, Mayor Bouton, I'd just like to clarify something. The B-O-U-T-O-N line was a lot smarter than the other longer line of B-O-U-G-H-T-O-N. We knew at one point we would be signing autographs later on. We didn't want to be bothered with the GH. And as far as driving as fast as I want to, I don't really need that, but I'd take the standard kickback, it would be fine. I'd like to welcome and wish good luck to the Westerners baseball team. I saw that there were a number of guys missing, probably hungover. One day you guys will be signing autographs when you get to the big leagues, and I'll let you know what that experience is like. Kids will come up to you and they will say, are you anybody? That's what happened to me. I say, yeah, I pitch for the New York Yankees. You pitch for the Yankees? Could you get me Mickey Mantle's autograph? We were signing autographs in the hotel in Detroit one time, waiting for the team bus to take us out to the ballpark. And fathers and sons were in the lobby getting autographs of the players. And this kid is standing in front of me with his autograph book. And his father is at the other end of the lobby, and he hollers across the lobby, "Who is that, son?" And the kid turns around and says, "It's only Jim Bouton, Dad." The father said, "Well, get it anyway." 50 years ago last month, I pitched my first game in the big leagues. Yankee Stadium. All my family were there. Uncles, cousins, brothers, neighbors. I must have left about 40 passes. This is my first chance in the big leagues. I go out to the mound and I walk the first bat. I walk the second bat. They're warming up in the bullpen. I walk the third bat. I got the bases loaded, nobody out. I'm serious. My brother was so distraught. My dad said at one point he had 2 cigarettes going. Bases loaded, 3 and 1 on the batter, and I throw a fastball a little bit above the belt. And Ralph Houk steps out of the dugout to come get me. The umpire calls it a strike. He steps back into the dugout. Next pitch, batter pops it up. I get out of the inning. They didn't score, and I ended up pitching a complete game shutout. I walked 7 guys. I gave up 7 hits, 14 runners I stranded. We pitched the entire game from the stretch position. After the game was over, Ralph Houk, the manager, came over to me and he said, "Any more shutouts like that, and we're going to need a new bullpen." Anyway, after the game was over, I was delayed in the dugout to do an interview with Red Barber, my first start in the big leagues, and so I did this radio thing from the dugout. And by the time I got to the locker room, it was about 10 minutes later or 5 minutes later, I opened the door to the clubhouse, and I see a path of white towels leading from the clubhouse door over to my locker. And standing in front of my locker is Mickey Mantle, and he's laying down the last towel. You'll never forget Mickey Mantle giving me the white carpet treatment after my first time at the big leagues. It was just a great time in my life. You know, I never expected to play in the big leagues. I sort of was I was the all-American kid. You know, I wanted to be a baseball player. So I did all the things that the coaches said you had to do to get to the big leagues. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't stay out late at night. And then I made the Yankees. My first night as a Yankee was on a road trip. We were in Washington, D.C., playing the Washington Senators. My very first night as a Yankee, 3 o'clock in the morning, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Ralph Terry, Clete Boyer, Elston Howard, Hector Lopez wake me up and bring me up onto the roof of the Shoreham Hotel to look in windows and drink beer. That's when I realized that I was not in shape to be a Major League Baseball player. The biggest surprise in my life was making the Yankees in the first place. In 1962, I was invited to spring training. The year before, I had played AA baseball and supposed to be playing AAA. He had a minor league contract. Anyway, sometimes in spring training, a major league team will invite a couple of kids from the minor leagues to, you know, give them a look. You get to meet Mickey and Whitey and the big guys, and then after, you know, a couple of weeks, they send you back over to the minor league camp where you belong. I knew I had no chance to make the team that spring. I could tell because of the uniform number they gave me. I was 109. 109B. So, you know, I'm running around spring training and pitching batting practice and, you know, chasing foul balls and cleaning up the locker room, you know, doing the stuff that the kids do before they get sent over to the minor leagues. And then we start playing the spring training games. Playing the Cardinals at St. Petersburg, and after 9 innings, the score is tied, and we have nobody to pitch the 10th inning. Now you have to understand, in spring training, they don't bring the whole team to play in a spring training game. Most of the guys, you know, work out at the base camp in the morning, and then they play golf in the afternoon. Only the players who are being punished have to play in a spring training game. So anyway, score is tied after 9th inning, and we only brought 3 innings of pitcher. For the 9-inning game, we had nobody to pitch the 10th, and so they called down to the bullpen. Hey, Bouton, you're in there. I go running out. I'm going to actually pitch against the St. Louis Cardinals in a real spring training game. I get the Cardinals out in the 10th inning, and we don't score, so I have to pitch the 11th. I get them out in the 11th. We don't score. I have to pitch the 12th, the 13th. In the middle of the 14th inning, I'm standing on the mound, and I suddenly realize that Bouton now leads the Yankees in innings pitched, strikeouts, every category. I'm mowing these guys down. I strike out the first batter to lead off the 14th. My catcher, Johnny Blanchard, jumps up from behind home plate, comes running out to the mound, and he's angry. He says, "Hey, me." Now, John didn't know the rookies' names. He used to just call us all me. "Hey, me, what the hell are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean, John?" He said, "Throw the damn ball in there and let him hit it." I said, "Why?" He said, "I got a golf date. Yogi's got dinner planned." "You can't be out here all day like this." I said, "John, I'm trying to make the team." He said, "You're not going to make the team." "You're only pitching because we don't have anybody else." And he went back behind home plate and started telling the hitters what was coming. Then they had to give me another chance because they pitched so well and then they gave me another chance. And by the time spring training was over, I had the best record of any pitcher in the spring, and they tore up my minor league contract and made me a Yankee, and now I was in the big leagues pitching to Yogi Berra. Yogi, as you all know, is a great American, great funny man, unintentionally funny. Yogi has no idea that he's being funny. I was there when one of the players asked Yogi what time it was. Yogi said, "Right now?" My favorite story was the one that Phil Rizzuto used to tell about the time he and Yogi they had a sports dinner somewhere in Pennsylvania, and they were on Interstate 80, and they were going about 90 miles an hour, and excuse me, they missed their exit ramp, and that's when Phil turned to Yogi and he said, "Yogi, I think we're lost." And that's when Yogi said, "Yeah, but we're making good time." Yogi was great with numbers. He once said baseball was 75% pitching and the other 50% was hitting. And I have one more Yogi story for you. This was told to me by one of Yogi's sons. Anyway, Dale was visiting his parents and he was watching television. And Yogi and Carmen came home from dinner. When they walked in, Dale was there watching True Grit with John Wayne. And Yogi says, "That's John Wayne, isn't it?" And Dale said, "Yeah, Dad, this is the movie True Grit." And Yogi said, "He made that movie before he died." Yes, he did. Anyway, I had so much fun being a baseball player, and I thought the characters were great, and it was just a marvelous experience. And I had to write about it. I was always thinking about writing about it. Even my first season in the minor leagues, I came home and told my parents and friends what it was like to be a professional baseball player. And they all said the same thing. You should keep notes. Maybe you'll write a book one day. So I did keep notes. And the notes eventually became a book called Ball 4. It was very controversial. It came out in 1970. It was front page news of every newspaper in the country, not just the sports section, but the front page of the newspaper. This guy Bouton had written all of these locker room secrets and behind the scenes stories, and the baseball commissioner at the time, Bowie, the Ayatollah, Kuhn, he wanted to ban the book, and he called me into his office for a reprimand. He told me he wanted me to sign a statement saying that the book wasn't true. And of course, this was a wonderful thing for him to do, because now everybody in the country wanted to read the book that the baseball commissioner didn't want them to read. And it was great. Ball 4 had originally published 5,000 copies, and then after the commissioner called me into the office and tried to reprimand me and sign a statement and all of that, the publishing company then had to print 50,000 copies, then 500,000 copies, and I'm happy to say that after 40 years, Ball 4 has sold nearly 5 million copies, and I owe it. And I owe it all to the baseball commissioner, which is why I dedicated my second book to him. Looking back on the whole controversy with Ball 4, and the reason the owners and the baseball commissioner were upset with Ball 4 is that Ball 4 was the first book to tell people how difficult it was to make a living in baseball. The minimum salary was $7,000. We were tied to our teams for life. We had no ability to bargain for our talent in the free market. If they wanted to trade us, they would trade us. We had nothing. We had no power at all. To give you an idea how unfair the owners were, my average salary for 8 years in the major leagues came to $19,000. $19,000, 8 years in the big leagues. And Ball 4 talked about that. There was an expansion team made up of players nobody else wanted, the Seattle Pilots. Here they were getting to know each other, and they were all telling each other their stories, like a team of great old storytellers. Perfect for a guy keeping notes. They all had stories about how they were cheated by an owner or a general manager, and the book is filled with stories like that. And the baseball commissioner and the owners were upset that people understood how badly they were treating the players. They might lose their antitrust exemptions. And ironically, that's exactly what happened. In 1975, there was an arbitration hearing in New York, the famous Andy Messersmith case. I was the only former player called to testify, and I read passages from Ball 4, which was accepted as legal evidence against the owners. That was the hearing in which baseball players were declared free agents. And now players are making a little bit more money than we made. Of course, none of them know why they're making that money. They think they were born with it somehow, but in any case, we opened the door for that, and Ball 4 played a role in that. I'm very proud of that. Now, I know a lot of people think that baseball players make too much money these days, but the way I look at it is, for 100 years, owners screwed the players. For 30 years, the players have screwed the owners. They've got 70 years to go. Now, when Ball 4 came out, the players were upset about Ball 4 too. They hadn't read the book. It is 400 pages long, and there's nothing to color in. I'm serious. In my day, most major league players had a little more than a high school education, if that. And they hadn't read the book. If they had read the book, they would have realized it was a funny book, told the player's side of the story. And the big controversy in Ball 4 was, I said Mickey Mantle hit a home run with a hangover. That was the big deal at the time. Mickey Mantle, he said he hit a home run with a hangover. But it was a story about what a great player Mickey was. I simply told about the time we've been, we had a game against the Detroit Tigers. We've been out the night before, having a few drinks. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to say Mickey was drunk, but he spent about a half an hour trying to make a telephone call from the grandfather's clock. He came to the ballpark the following day, and he was legally blind. And the manager is pretty good about it. Don't worry about it, Mick. Sleep it off in the trainer's room. We'll put somebody else in center field. And before the game, we would be sitting there in the dugout waiting to see what the scoreboard was going to say about why, Mickey wasn't playing. They can't tell the truth on the scoreboard. Mickey Mantle out with a hangover. Joe Pepitone out 2 weeks with a clap. They have to make something up. So the scoreboard announces that Mickey had a pulled rib cage muscle. Okay. Game proceeds. 10th inning. We need a pinch hitter in the 11th. Ralph House says, somebody go in and wake up the Mick. We need a pinch hitter in the 11th. We walk into the trainer's room. We wake him up. Mickey, wake up. Baseball, remember? We dress him in his uniform. We steer him through the tunnel into the dugout. They put a bat in his hands. The Mick staggers up to the plate. Fortunately, he's a switch hitter. Doesn't matter what side he gets on. Steps into the batter's box. To show you what a great ball player Mickey was, he was the greatest player I ever saw. Mickey hit the first pitch into the center field bleachers. A tremendous blast. The guys are going nuts. We're laughing. We're hollering and screaming. And suddenly it occurs to us, he still has to round those bases. We can't just hit one out and walk in. You must touch the bases in order. Fortunately, he heads off, hits first base, and everybody goes, make a left. Comes over, he touches second, he touches third. He misses home plate, or have to send him back for that. Comes over to the dugout, and of course the fans are giving him a standing ovation, because how could a guy hit a home run like that with a pulled rib cage? After the game was over, I went over to Mickey's locker. I said, Mick, how did you do that? You couldn't even see up there. And Mickey, in his Oklahoma twang, says, well, it was pretty simple. I hit the middle ball. People say to me, playing baseball with Mickey Mantle and pitching in the World Series and all of that must have been the biggest thrill of your career. And I have to say that actually the biggest thrill was when my son discovered I was a Major League Baseball player. Michael was about 3 years old at the time, and when kids are that old, they don't really know what you do for a living. They just know that you go away, then you come home, then you go away, then you come home. And then one day we were on a road trip, and they were televising the game back to the house. And Michael was watching the TV, and he saw a close-up of my face on the television set. And he watched me pitch this game. And I came back from the road trip about a week later, and Michael was waiting at the airport. That's about, and I saw him standing there, and I said, "Hey, Mike, how you doing?" And Mike had his hands on his hips, a funny look on his face, and he said, "Hey, Dad, You're Jim Bouton, aren't you? One of the things I like about vintage baseball, and I still play baseball, 73, I play against guys who are 35 and 40, but I throw the knuckleball, so, I do all right. But vintage baseball is baseball played by 19th century rules, uniforms, and equipment. And it's great. There's only one umpire. He must always be addressed as sir. If the umpire does not see a play clearly enough, he goes out and talks to the players, and they must tell the truth. Based upon this, he makes a gentleman's ruling. And if he doesn't see the play clearly, he can then ask the crowd, was he safe or was he out? And then the crowd, will let you know. And so it's a very old-fashioned game. What I like the rules. The difference between vintage baseball and Major League Baseball is this. In vintage baseball, there are no batting gloves. Can you imagine batting gloves? What is the deal with batting gloves? Why don't you fix your glove after every single pitch? Nobody cares about that. Stay in the... Anyway, there's no batting gloves, no wristbands, no elbow pads, no shin guards, no logo shoes, no pajama pants, no gold chains or earrings. No stepping out of the batter's box, no calling timeout, no pointing to the sky, no kissing jewelry. Just baseball. No high-fiving, no trash talking, no pointing to the sky, none of that stuff. Just play baseball. That's what I like about vintage baseball. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you have any Thurman Munson stories?
Thurman Munson stories. I didn't really know Thurman Munson, although I tried to interview him after my book came out and I was a sportscaster, and he didn't want to talk to me because I said Mickey Mantle hit a home run with a hangover. So that's my Mickey Mantle story. Thank you very much. I've had a great time.
Just a reminder, you can fire. His book after breakfast. A lot more details on that, but right now it is raffle time. Dave Schreiber, breakfast committee chairperson, and we're going to be able to get Savings Bank. It is raffle time. We need your bodies up here. Oh yeah.
All right, we'll be drawing the raffle numbers in just a moment. And Jim will be signing his book afterwards as well, if you want to stick around and purchase his book. We have two Silent Auction Award winners here. You can come up and see me. Esther Morris has won the 2 Yankee tickets. And the downtown Danbury Dine Around package, Jerry